All right, everybody say hi, Rosa.
Hi, Rosa.
Hello, Rosa. Word.
I can't spin it.
We really can't spin it. You can spin it around if you want to. I mean, spin it around there.
Oh, okay, that's easy.
Everybody say hi, Rosa.
Hi, Rosa.
Hello.
Your hair's a little Rosa.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So. All right. So we're talking about this thing called an array list. Now, array lists are cool because they solve all of the annoying problems that we have with an array. So, y'all talk to me. What are some annoying things about arrays? Not two-dimensional arrays, mind you, just regular flat-out arrays. Okay, if we don't know what's annoying, what are arrays good for?
They're good for printing out long lists of things.
Okay, so long list. Okay, so storing information in a list. Okay, great. So what are some common sort of activities that you do with the list? If you're going to be making a list or interacting with the list, what are the things that you're doing to that list?
Changing it.
Yeah, you're changing it. Okay, is it hard to change that on an array?
No.
Kind of.
Yeah, it's not super annoying. I mean, it's just sort of, you know, okay. But what if you have an array that is of size 10 and you fill it all up, and then you want to add one more thing to it? Then what? You know what you have to do? We talked about this.
Yeah.
Do you all remember what do you remember what has to happen?
You have to make a copy.
You got to make a copy of it, and you've got to make another array that's twice as big or 3 times as big or at least one more element as big, and then copy all of those 10 items over into your new list, right? Also, if you now have an array that is maybe size 20, but you need to manually keep track that you're at position 11, right? Or you're at position 10 or you're position 5, and then the rest of it's available. So you've got to keep track of that stuff. In my opinion, that's kind of annoying, keeping track of the logical size as well as changing the size. And that if you fill it all the way up, well, an array list takes care of all of that. An array list, if you want to add something to your list, boom, now there's one item. You want to add another one? Boom, now there's another one there. You want to add a third one? No problem. You want to take one of them away? Just take it away. You want to take the one away in the middle? All the ones all down the line? Move up. You want to insert one and all the other guys all the way down here, scoot down? You can do that. Think about how annoying that would be to do in an array. If you had an array of like values, of 100 values, and you wanted to insert one at position 10, you'd have to copy whoever was at 10 and put it at 11, copy 11, put it on 12, copy 12. You see what I'm saying? You'd have to copy all that stuff. The array list actually does that, but it takes care of all of that behind the scenes, so you don't have to mess with it. Okay? An array list is truly a gift to programmers everywhere. Okay?
You're talking about the initializer list?
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about a brand new structure. Okay, good that we had this clarification. An array list is a new way of making a list. It's a totally new way of storing data. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
With an array, let's just say that its name was R. Okay? If you needed to access, or if you wanted to store something in there at position 4, you would say R at position 4 equals pi. An array list is a completely new way of doing this, okay? We'll just call this list. The way you would do it with an array list is you would say list dot add, if I can spell, at index 4, the string pi. Yes, right, okay? So it's different, okay? it still is a list. I mean, it's still like an array, but you'll notice immediately one of the things that's different is that you don't use the brackets. You use a dot and then an add. You use methods, because an array list, first and foremost, is an object. Okay, so if you wanted to print this out, you would say system.out.println R4. Pretty much the exact same way that you would store something in it, right? With an array list, you would say system.out.println or print list.get at position 4. Okay? So you've got adding. There's also there's all sorts of other methods that are available here. We'll talk about it. But this is a way that you get. Okay? So the array list allows you to change values. It allows you to insert values. It allows you to get them. It allows you to remove them. It allows you to do all kinds of different things like that. Okay? So it's a completely different way of storing data. Okay? With its own set of commands. Okay? Those commands, there's the add with just the object on the inside, which will tack it onto the end. Okay? There's add where you give the index and then your object, which is technically more like an insert, like it'll insert it into the list. There's a set method, and you give it an index, and then you give it the object, and it actually is going to go through and change that one. There's a get, where you just give it an index and it goes in and finds that item and goes and pulls it out and gives it to you. And there's a remove, where you say I want to remove the item at this index, and it'll go through the whole list, and it'll find that particular index, and it'll grab that one else, and everybody else gets shifted up. Okay? All kinds of really neat things. We're going to experiment with all of these. If you look at your paper there, oh, there's also a size method. In an array, you would say r.length. You would use the length property. Notice no parentheses. But with an array list, you would say list.size, open paren, close paren. Okay? And that's listed right here. It's sort of the last section. Technically, an array list, it implements the list interface, and these are those problems. We'll talk about interfaces and things like that later, but for right now, all you need to know is that these are the methods that are, available to you. Size, add at a position, get, set, and remove. Sound good? Okay. So let's go ahead and create a new class. So I'm going to call this ArrayList Demo 7. Don't just call it ArrayList because that'll confuse Java. Alright, so lots of new terminology, lots of new ways of creating things. So let me show you how you create an array list. Here we go. Array list, you actually write the whole word there. In this example I was giving up here, we had strings. I'm going to hold off on the strings. I'm going to let y'all create one with strings. We're going to create one with integers, okay? And so we're going to use these angle brackets right here, the less than, greater than thing, and I'll say integer. We will call our array list numList equals new array list angle bracket integer, open paren, close paren, semicolon. I've got to have those parentheses because, like I said, an array list is an object, and so that means when I create, or it's a class, but when I instantiate it as an object, I have to call the constructor. Something to think about, an array list, Rolf, what you were talking about is that you can have an initializer list, which is a way of sort of very quickly putting a bunch of data into an array. That's what an initializer list was. What we're talking about is something totally different. It's a brand new structure, a whole new set of code, new way of dealing with information. Does that make sense? Now, that being said, unfortunately, the array list does not have a way that you can have an initializer list. There's no initializer list option for array list. You have to do manual entry. You have to manually add items. Which is what we're going to do right now. So, let's add some numbers to our number list. Roth, give me a number to add.
25.
Says a numList.add 25. Alex, give me another number to add.
13.
John?
21.
Figures. If you guys know it, that you would say that. Why is that so obvious that he would say 21? Is he like a blackjack fan?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well then riddle me this, what number would Rosa pick?
8.
9,000. She
Really?
would put 9,000.
No, she
Which
would
one,
put
Rosa? 8 or 9,000?
She would put 9,000.
Alright, we are gonna go to,
She would put any number above 9,000.
Put 8. That's
Then
her
you said
favorite
it would be-
number.
Nick, what would she choose?
Any number above 9,000.
I don't know. It depends on those 8. Rosa hates
No,
even.
it's 8 is her favorite number.
What did Jeremy say?
Alright, she's,
What did you say, Jeremy?
8's is Rosa's favorite number. Here we go.
Well,
alright,
I forgot.
okay, we're gonna add, alright, Rosa, you are not with us presently, but you are with us in spirit, and we're gonna add 8. So apparently that's your favorite number, according to these guys. Alright. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Hey, we just added a bunch of numbers there. What, I wanna show y'all what this is gonna look like. So, numList, it's called an array list. Hey, you want me to tell you what, I can put it over here, that way you don't have to move back and forth. It's called an array list because it looks like an array. 0, 1, 2. The only thing is that technically the array list looks like this. It looks completely empty. And when we hit this command right here, numList.add 25, then it now looks like this. At position 0, there's 25. Then when we execute the next line, numList.add 13, it looks like this. Then when we execute the line numList.add 21, it looks like this. Then when we say numList.add 8, it looks like that. So it's dynamically changing. It's growing even as we add. We did not have to say array list integer numList equals new array list of integers size 5 or size 4 or size 3. It's not going to limit us like that. We just create the object. and then it will grow or shrink depending on the information that's in it. It keeps track of the logical size itself. I don't know about you, John, but that's kind of nice for me. I mean, that's less stuff that we have to worry about. Okay, just to verify that, let's go ahead and print out the size of this array list. So system.out.println numList dot size, open paren, close paren. Actually, I might put a little bit of a label here to make it nice. Size equals plus. I can also get any value in particular that I want. So I might say system.out.println row 3 value equals numList dot get 3. What do you think that's going to print out, John? It'll say row 3 value equals
The row.
Like, what do you mean by the row 3? Like, what do you think that this part right here is going to print out?
Oh, 8.
Is that what you're going to say, Ralph? And that's fitting because 8 is twice 3. Right? Well, 3 is half of 8. Have you ever heard that? What's half of 8?
4.
Oh.
Oh.
See, it's half of 8. Or if they said that, they'd say, no, it's 3. Or you could say, no, it's 4, dummy. You know, but anyway, there you go. 2 3s right there equal 8. Row 3 value. Yep, that looks good. Okay, what if I wanted to print out, let's do it just a blank. I want to print out all of them. Boom, 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 boom. Could we do a for loop?
Yeah.
All right, let's try it. For int I equals 0, y'all take it away.
I is then numList dot length.
Close. It is numList dot, but there's no length since it's an array list. If it was an array, yeah, you'd have length, but it's array list. Nope. What is the method which tells us how big this array list is?
Would it be size?
It'd be size.
Oh yeah.
And then I plus plus. I'm going to make this a one-line for loop, so no need for brackets. System.out.println. Take it away, Sean.
Maybe. Oh. Maybe numList, right?
It would be numList. Now we don't use the brackets.
Maybe it has to be in the middle between the size. No.
Nope. I'm definitely not changing that up there because size is there. But you're getting to the right point. It is numList, and there is going to be a dot.
Oh, get.
Get.
Oh.
Open paren I. There we go. Because we want to get 0, then get 1, then get 2, then get 3. Or get, which yields us the values 25, 13, 21, and 8. I'm going to do another print line after that. Could we do a for each loop? Yes, we could. For each, I'll help you out with this one, integer num, that'll be the local name for it here within this loop, in numList system.out.println taking any suggestions. What am I going to put inside this print line statement?
None.
Ding, ding, ding. That is correct. Print num. Think about this. Just read it out loud. For each integer num in numList, print num. For each num in the list, print num. Let's run that sucker.
My first four won't work. It has all the eyes underlined.
Do you say int I?
Where? No.
While I take attendance, I'll let y'all debug that. Did we solve the problems?
Yes.
Good job, Roth. All right. Let's go ahead. So we've done the add method. Let's add at a specific location. Okay? So look at your notes and read to us, Alex, what it says, the second method there, Boolean add e object. What do the comments say there?
Appends object to end of list, returns true.
Okay? That's the add that we've already been dealing with. Add with a specific number. Now the next one says void add int index, comma, e object. Read to us what that says, Alex.
Inserts object at position index 0 less than equal to index less than equal to size.
Where I would read that as index is between 0 and size. Keep going.
Moving elements at position index and higher. Move to the right, adds 1 to their indices, and adjust size.
Okay. So this add, see, I wouldn't necessarily call it an add. I'd call it more of an insert. Okay. Let me show you. Do I have? Oh, perfect. I'm going to insert right here a row, and watch what happens to all the other values. Rock, you're gonna miss it. Here it comes. Here's the insert. Did you see what it did to all these guys? What did it do?
Moved them all down.
It moved them all down. Okay? So, that's what we're going to do. We're going to say, I'm going to go back up here to the end of my adds. And I'm going to say numList.add at index 1. Cody, give me a number.
7.
I'm going to add the number 7. So, what that's going to do, if you look up here, at position 1, it's going to put 7 here, but before it does it, it's actually going to shift everything else down. Okay? So the 8 gets moved down here. The 21 moves down here. The 13 moves down here, and now we have a 7. So our array list now reads 25, 7, 13, 21, 8. I put this, notice where I put it. I put it there after I added everything else to it. Okay? So if I run this, notice 25, 7, 13, 21, 8. So make sure you add that method right there. Now I maybe don't particularly like that value. I do like 7. Who doesn't like 7?
This guy
Everybody.
said it was boring.
You did say it was boring. Fine. Let me show you the difference there between an add and a set. So I'm going to say numList.set at position 1. Jeremy, give us a number, any number, but not 7. 16, you say? All right. A set is going to do exactly what you think it does. It's going to set the value.
So would it replace the 7?
It will replace the 7.
And that 7 would disappear?
It will no longer be there. Technically, what that method does, it'll actually return the 7 back to whoever called it, in case you wanted to process it for some reason or whatever. But when I execute this code and it prints everything else out, it should print 25, 16, 13, 21, 8. (25, 16, 13, 21, 8). All right, we're doing great. Next thing, and the last method before I set you on a task of your own, is the, what's that?
Did yours print twice?
Yeah, it did. I'm only showing.
Okay. I'm just wondering.
No, yeah, I'm only showing one of those. The remove method. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to remove this 13 because 13 is not very lucky. Okay. I'm going to remove that one. Now, when I do that, observe all these. It's like I'm deleting this entire row in a Google sheet or Excel sheet. All these guys are going to move up, just exactly the way that you would expect it to do. So I'll say numList.remove. I'll put 2. So when I do that, that 13 is gone. It's now 21. This 21 is replaced with the 8, and that last one down there is wiped away completely. The size of the array list is 4. Do you see how the size is adjusting dynamically? Yeah, array lists are awesome. At this point then, when we run the code, we would expect 25, 16, 21, 8. 25, 16, 21, 8. All right, any questions? Now let me show you something that I should have shown last year's students at this point, but I decided not to for whatever reason. Maybe I didn't know myself. That is, there is a special method which will rearrange all of those to be sorted order from smallest to largest. Okay? And it's awesome. And let me show you how you do that. I'm adding this once again after I'm adding everything in there. And it's, you say collections dot sort, and then you put the name of the array list. So I put numList in there. Now let's make a prediction about what we're going to see. It's 8, 16, 21, 25.
Yes. Or just rearrange that from number.
Yep. What it is it put the 8 up here. 16 actually ended up staying in the same place. 21 ended up staying in the same place, and 25 ended up going down here. It has completely rearranged our array list so that it now looks like this. And when we print it out, it looks like that. That's very advantageous. If the thing which is in your array list has a natural sorting order, like integers or strings, alphabetical order, or doubles, smallest to largest, okay? Then Java will sort it automatically, okay? Now what I want y'all to do is to create a duplicate of this demo class and do all this same sort of stuff. I don't mind if you copy and paste it, but I want your array list to be of strings. Got it? Challenge accepted. All right. Bye, Rosa.
Bye, Rosa.
Bye.